In 3, 2, 1, and we're up. We are live. Today, we have me, like we always do, and Cabal Sack, like we often do, and another guest
Hey.
today. Say hello, Cabal Sack.
Hey.
Yeah, there he is. And our other special guest, another content creator and streamer and competitor and fucking what else do you do? Commentate? Like,
This is definitely my groundbreak into that world.
well, there you go. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Tell them how
All
awesome
right.
and attractive you are.
Okay. Well, the attractive part, I'm not so sure. But I am known across the social platforms and streaming world as Amperflex. And yeah, I do MK and a bunch of less interesting stuff. So
Right
that's
on.
me in a nutshell.
What's your background with fighting games, but Mortal Kombat specifically, obviously?
Well, I wanted to start fighting games back in this when Street Fighter 2 was the new fresh thing, but the quarter lineup on the ledge was far too long.
He
So
said I
there
wanted
was
to.
this fresh new. What's that?
You wanted to start like when it was like you wanted to start fighting games when fighting games started.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I played Pit Fighter before that, so take that as you will.
Pit Fighter was
But
dope.
yeah, yeah. So Mortal Kombat was the new thing in the arcades. That's where I spent a lot of my class time when I should have been studying, and cut class to go to the arcade.
How
MK1 was my tooth cutting, so to speak.
like how many people have that exact same story? Like, yo man, I would be a doctor if I didn't play so many fucking video games.
Days when kids got outside to play with each other, right?
Right? I was going to law school, but I'd stopped because college is a scam and I played too many fucking video games. So I know exactly how that is ditching class to go to the arcade. Like, that's a story we can all relate to.
Where
So
did
I
we get the
mean,
money when we didn't have jobs?
exactly. I don't know, man. Like rolling quarters, like reaching between couch cushions.
Uh,
I
20
was
bucks in an afternoon was no big deal, and you don't know where it came from.
I was good though. So like I was able to make one quarter last. I could be at the arcade for hours on one quarter. So that's how I did it. That's how you did it back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you wanted to keep playing, you just had to be good enough to keep winning. So, anyways, the something kind of came out this week that was kind of big. And this is our inaugural discussion on that. Let's. What does everybody think about Ultimate?
Oh, it's amazing. The best patch ever.
Wow.
I was
Emperor?
excited at first. Then I saw that when it came down to the gameplay mechanics, the changes weren't all that noticeable to me.
Really?
There were some stuff that I was really looking for, and then taking it, you take it to online, or sorry, you take it to practice mode, and you could definitely notice the changes. But then going online, it didn't matter at all. The mashers just completely destroyed any semblance you had for a hope of change.
Really? I found that to be the exact opposite. Like because of this patch, I've actually caught on to my own mashing bad habits. Like I catch myself mashing now. Whereas before it was like I didn't and you just kind of got away with it, and now when I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm mashing. I'm getting blown up for mashing," and I'm noticing that like this is a new world we live in.
Have you been using your old mains, or have you been using new characters online?
I mostly have been playing Molina and Rambo. I haven't played much of Rain, and I haven't messed with Kung Lao all that much. But I as far as like my opening opinion is Ultimate is the game that we should have got from the start. And I
Yes.
actually am envious of anybody starting Mortal Kombat 11's journey right now because they're coming in with Like everything is refreshed, so like it doesn't matter who has spent like this entire year playing Garrus. Like Garrus and the game as a whole is different enough to where like a lot of the legacy ability for the past hour or past year, not hour, past year just doesn't really matter as much.
We basically got MK12.
Yeah, this is MK12. This is the game it should have been from the start.
It's Mortal Kombat 11.5, to be honest.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
it won't be MK12 until they get rid of the variation system and just bring back the in-fight stance switch. The variation or the stance styles like in 3D era.
With the way they did the variations in Ultimate, not in MK11, but in Ultimate, unlocking and just having certain moves be banned, like I honestly really, really like that, and I think that this is the best distillation of MK or fight. I stand by what I've said, that this is the best fighting game on the market that you can buy. But I think that with the changes to Ultimate, like it's really this is like the game all other fighting games should aspire to, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
After Ultimate.
I agree on the variation stuff, but some of the bad moves I just don't know why. Like RoboCop has his command grab plus flamethrower banned for no reason.
No.
Well, the thing is, so here's my theory, is that Ultimate was years in the making. They probably started working on what would eventually be Ultimate as far as like game design and balance and like that sort of thing. They had been working on Ultimate for a while because Tom Brady actually brought this up. He mentioned that the big problem with a lot of characters is not having a good mid and not having a fast mid, and a lot of characters having to rely on jailing. And with Ultimate, everybody jails like super easy now. Like even if you don't have a good mid, like you have a very simple jail. And one of the things Tom Brady brought up was that like that was something that every DLC character has had since the game started releasing DLC. Like you look at Nightwolf, Shang Tsung, like all their pokes are like plus double digits. Spawn, Terminator, just everybody.
Sindel, forward 4.
Yeah, well, no, just Sindel's down 1, being like super easy to jail with. I think honestly, this is the direction they wanted the game to go in all along, and they were testing it out over the course of the year through the DLC. Like, okay, like we don't know what's going to happen to how the game is played if everybody's like down 1 is plus 15. So let's put in, a character or two, right? Or like all fucking 9 of the DLC. And see how that plays out with everybody having really simple and easy jails. And then Ultimate comes out and now everybody has simple, easy jails. So to me, it makes sense as far as like how they were designing the game. They had an idea and they used the DLC as the testing ground. And you look at the DLC that they've released with Rain, Melina, and Rambo, you see a lot of similarities in design philosophy among those three. Like all three have really good mids, all three have really good pressure, and all three can actually zone pretty well if you build their variation for it. And that like every variation that you build has very obvious strengths and weaknesses that are kind of like tied, like they balance each other out. Like if you have like Rain's 3 combo extenders, like you lose his zoning, you lose his set play. So I feel like that's kind of what they wanted to do with MK11 from the start, but just didn't have the confidence in their balancing to go with it.
It might have also been social pressures as well, right? Like they were under pressure just to get the game out off the start, and Injustice was getting a little stale. People are getting sick of the zoning online and whatnot. They're like, when's the next Mortal Kombat? We want Melina, we want Smoke, we want Ermac. Stan's going nuts. So they were under a little bit of pressure just to get the next MK out. So they got it out. And, I actually really loved how the game was at launch. A lot of people didn't, but I'm an MK fan, not so much on the NRS front, but just as a Mortal Kombat fan.
I'm the same.
I don't know who it was, whether it was Tom Brady or Maximilian Dude that, excuse me, that said that the game felt rushed at the beginning. The game felt like it wasn't finished, like from the beginning. The developers wanted custom variations to be in the game, but deadlines happened. The public wanted another MK game because Injustice became stale, like you guys said. It just felt rushed at the beginning, especially with the huge drop between uh, Devora at the beginning and Sonya.
See,
Those
I
two were like a huge gap between the two on how good they were at day one.
see, but I don't think that the game was rushed. I think there are certain things that you have to take your time on that you just can't really get a handle the way people want. For example, balancing. Like you don't know if something is balanced until it's been play tested for 1,000 hours.
Right.
But I feel like as a product, this was like one of the least rushed. Like, because I'm looking at the game as a whole. I'm not looking at like, oh man, like Garrus has a glitch that this or that. I'm like, dude, like this game has fully functioning story mode, literally thousands of hours of single player content and unlockables. It has the best netcode. These are things that take forever to implement, test, get right. When the game came out, story mode worked fucking perfectly. Like nobody talks about like there were no bugs in story mode. And like yeah, there were some
Because
bugs.
nobody wants story mode. All the loudest people just want online. They skip story mode, and the first thing they do, they pick up the game, they go online, or they hit the lab so they can figure out what they're going to do online, and they don't care about the story. And then
See,
they
I
bitch
disagree
about
with
the
that.
skins and unlockables that they missed
I
because
disagree
they
with
don't
that.
do that.
I disagree with that, and here's why. Something like 9 million people bought this game, and it takes me 10 minutes to get matches when I go online. So where are those 9 million people? Well, they beat the story mode, and now they're playing Assassin's Creed or whatever. So as a first impression for casual players, like a casual player buys MK, they learn a Scorpion combo from YouTube, they play the story mode, and like that experience is so fucking good for a AAA game. Like you don't see people going in and saying, "Oh yeah, like the game crashed when I tried to do this, fucking cutscene, or when I was on the Sindel fucking chapter, it was buggy and there were frame rate issues in the cutscenes, or the Towers of Time. The only problem with the Towers of the Time was the fucking balancing. People were like, "Yo, some of these fights are ridiculous." But everything worked. And like the only things that had problems as far as like bugs and QA testing was like balance, which is shit that takes years to fucking know if you got it right anyways. But as a whole, as a package, if somebody came up and said, what's a good video game to play for fighting games, like I could not suggest any game over MK11. And this is someone who has every
Hopefully, you managed to guess the Citadel chapter. My Citadel chapter, when I got Aftermath, legit just didn't want to work. It crashed every single time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always
You're on
going to be
Xbox
people.
though, right?
Yeah, he's on
Cabal,
Xbox.
and you're on Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
But I mean, the thing is, there's always going to be like a bug or two here and there, but it's not like widespread. It's not like Fallout 76 where the entire world got together and said, yo, this game doesn't work and it's shit. Like MK11, like the only people really bitching were people that were like, oh yeah, fucking Jackie's overpowered, which that can be tuned and fixed, but it's not like, oh man, like every time I pick fucking Joker, the game just crashes. Like you don't have that. Whereas you look at other games, it's like, oh yeah, every time I jump, the game fucking crashes and I fall through the world. You don't get that with MK11.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid experience right from the get-go. And like back to the quality of the story, MK by far exceeds any story mode that I've played in a fighting game so far. And, that's not the experience that I play a fighting game for. But as a time killer, you want to be able to enjoy it, right? And MK and Aftermath story mode, bar none, better than the rest.
Well, I mean, the story is just there to give you context. Go ahead, Cabal.
Amperflex is now going to get canceled on Twitter. Twitter just hates everything everything related to Mortal Kombat story that isn't mid-event.
I just go on Twitter to troll. But like, I mean, the
So,
story mode and all that's important to give context for the fights. Like, I mean, Rambo and RoboCop don't need context. But if I'm Joe Blow, fucking, I buy Call of Duty and FIFA every year, and I jump online, it's like, why do I give a shit about Scorpion? Why do I give a shit about like Katana? So the story gives you the context for that stuff, and I think that's why MK does so well as a casual game. But like as a product, I still stand by it. Like if you're gonna spend $60-$70 on a fighting game, like not counting Smash because it's not a fighting game, like you're not gonna get any better value than MK Ultimate. And as far as like room to grow, because when I look at a fighting game, the thing that I look for when I recommend a fighting game, I look for two things: single player content and room to grow. And so if they've got single player content, I can wholeheartedly recommend it because it's like, all right, man, if you suck, at least you could still do shit in the game with the computer and have a good time and get your money's worth.
Yeah.
But as far as room to grow, there are two things that I look at as far as like, is this game worth committing to? Is like, is there depth when the game is played at an intermediate level, not high level? High level always is going to have depth, dude. You can find the fact that Super Turbo, which is not a very deep game compared to modern fighting games, has had such a competitive lifespan is because there's always depth at high level. Is there depth at intermediate level? Are not bad players, good players, but not the best in the world, are good players going to find that depth? And that's where a lot of games fall apart. And MK11, vanilla MK11 fell apart because people that were at the highest level, like Sonic Fox, found the depth. Ninja Killa found the depth. But like your average 0-2 tournament player is like, yo, this game is boring. Like I'm just doing the same combo and like poking into grab. So at the intermediate level, the game didn't have depth because those people can't flawless block. They don't understand the meta. They don't understand the high level tactics. And that's a big problem. And the other thing that I look at for room to grow is netcode. I mean, obviously, nobody has netcode as good as MK other than Killer Instinct.
There's a couple out there that I'd say are comparable, but one of them I definitely won't mention the name because I know you're pretty hardcore against that game. So
I mean, if I'm gonna shit on Skullgirls, I've met Mike Z. He's a cool fucking guy. Like he's very, very shy. I just shit on Skullgirls because it's a fucking meme. Like I don't play fucking waifu games, but Skullgirls, like I shit on Mike Z and I shit on Skullgirls because it's a meme and it's funny for me to do so. But I've always had respect for Mike Z. Like I said, I've met him in person like once. I talked to him for like 5 minutes. He's a pretty cool guy. He's very, very shy. And I think that's where a lot of his problems come from is he's not very good at communicating with people. But like when I talk about fighting game quality, I don't really look at like indie games, like anything that's like sub $60 because those are always very, very niche. Like Skullgirls has no mainstream appeal. Like you either like it or you don't. And even within fighting games, like it's pretty polarizing. So it's not a game I could recommend to anybody. But like if someone's a hardcore weeb, I could recommend it. I can be like, oh yeah, you like fucking Senran Kagura? Like, oh yeah, you'll probably love Skullgirls.
Yeah, I picked it up because it was on the cheap and it looked flashy and fun. And then after it was in my library and I put I don't know, 20 minutes into it, I realized kind of exactly what it was there for. And that's not the space I was looking to fill.
Yeah. And like with this ultimate update, like they've really, like I have to take off my hat and applaud NetherRealm because this is hands down one of the best fighting games like ever made in my opinion. And full disclosure, NetherRealm doesn't give me shit. I had to buy the game myself. I had to buy a copy of Aftermath. They didn't give me one. I had to buy Ultimate. They didn't give me one. You know, they don't get I fucking hooked Cabalin up with a copy of Ultimate to pay him for fucking editing for me. Like they didn't even give me any copies of the DLC to like hand out. Like you've seen other streamers like, hey, I'm giving away a free copy of Ultimate. Yeah, I didn't get any of that shit. Otherwise, I would be giving, copies of Ultimate to my community. So like when I say
but it's
these
worth
things,
Tom Brady didn't get that privilege either, and he's been in the competitive fighting scene since MK3, so they didn't even give him one of the packs that was Euro only for the Sub-Zero mask, right? So
yeah, well,
guys.
Sub-Zero is a loaded or not Sub-Zero. Tom Brady's a loaded topic. Like, I understand NetherRealm kind of keeping their distance from him. But
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things within the community where if you say anything positive, you're a shill. And it's like,
Right.
when I sit there and say like MK11 is the best fighting game on the market that you can buy in a modern console, like, and I'm a streamer, so instantly it's like, oh yeah, like he's a paid shill, and it's like, no, NetherRealm doesn't give me shit. They really don't. So when I say that, I actually mean it.
From
And the
how
thing is
long I
that
know,
you've got the wisdom in the background to back that up, SoCal.
Well, I mean,
Right?
I
Like
just I play
you've
a
been
lot
around
of
the
fighting
competitive
games.
scene longer than a lot of people, and you know what you're talking about. And I've seen your instructional videos and taken a lot of that to heart, and your breakdowns and everything. Um, you're a knowledgeable dude. So when you're looking at it from a gameplay perspective, then honestly, your word means a lot more than a lot of people's out there.
Well, I mean, from a gameplay perspective, I feel like if you look at it, because I break the games down at a competitive level. Like, I played competitive Tekken against the best in the world. And, like, at the end of the day, like, at high level, Tekken is spacing and whiff punishing. Like, that's the whole game, is like, can you outspace them and whiff punish them when they're not spaced correctly? And the depth is like from there kind of like more execution. It's like, can you move, can you Korean backdash to be able to space and play neutral? Same thing like with Street Fighter, is it's like, basically, do you memorize the frame data? Like with Street Fighter, is like, oh, you've got a 3 frame down jab, like I can't press here. Whereas with Mortal Kombat at high level, this game has more depth than any other fighting game. And I can say that because I played other fighting games at high level, and I like to think that I play this game at high level. And the mind games, like with Tekken, I can tell you exactly what to do after a blocked jab. Like with Street Fighter, I can tell you, okay, you blocked that jab, like, they're at -1 and you have a 5 frame, your fastest move is 5 frames. So, like, after a jab, you still have to block and hold that or whatever, right? Whereas in Mortal Kombat 11, specifically Ultimate, after a jab, like, 10 things can fucking happen. And people don't look at that. Like, it's like, okay, I blocked a jab. What do I do? Do I press back? The frame data says I can press back, but flawless block is always a threat. Also, evasion is more of an issue in this game than other 2D games. I think evasion only matters in like 3D games, to the extent that it does in MK. So it's like, okay, do I after I block a jab, do I duck thinking that they're going to do another jab? Do I short hop? Do I neutral jump? Do I cross up? Do I just block? Do I press? Do I flawless block? Do I look for a string and look for a flawless block gap there? Do I think they're going to flawless block, so after a jab I instantly try to grab them? Like, these are the decision-making scenarios you have to deal with at all times in MK11, and that's off a blocked jab. Like, that's a lot of fucking depth, and people don't see that. They look at their YouTube combos, and they're like, oh, man, like, this combo is, like, I figured it out in, like, 45 minutes, so this game is trash and scrubby because I can do every combo. And it's like, no, you're trash and scrubby because you're not looking at the game beyond YouTube combos. You're like a single player puzzle rhythm gamer, right? I can go on in practice mode and I can do every combo because I'm really good at rhythm games, so this game is shit. And it's like, no, you're shit because, like, you're not seeing the actual depth. Chess has no execution either, and you'd be hard pressed to tell me that chess doesn't have depth.
that's a good analogy.
Right?
Wish I was competitive in other titles. Honestly, I've been a pretty much a MK loyalist the entire time. I think I got into Virtua Fighter a little bit back in the arcade days, but it's only just recently I've started branching out and seeing what other games have to offer. But the only reason that I've been doing that is to try and up my Mortal Kombat game.
First of all, I love Virtua Fighter, and I shout out to LA Akira, who's probably the best Virtua Fighter player in America. And I used to feel bad. Like, my fiance, she was really, like, she loved LA Akira because back in the old Wednesday night fight days, like, LA Akira is basically for for Virtual Fighter, he is what I am for MK. Because he would bring his own setup to Wednesday night fights, bring his own setup to every tournament. He had like 3 or 4 PS3s that he lugged around and had his wife help him carry gear to every tournament to set up a Virtual Fighter 5 side tournament. And no one would ever enter it. This guy just wanted to play his fucking game. He could have played Tekken. Like, everybody in the Tekken community loved him and wanted him to play Tekken. Everybody wanted him to play their game, but he only wanted to play Virtual Fighter. And I remember he would set up brackets, and I loved the guy. So the bracket would literally be me versus LA Akira, and that was like the tournament. Because I would enter every Virtual Fighter tournament to help support LA Akira. Because I was like, you know what? I don't play this game seriously, but I love what you're doing, and I just want to help you out. And so he would always body me because I'm free at that game. But I don't know. You mentioned Virtual Fighter, and it reminded me that, like, you know, LA Akira, he put in a lot of work for that game, and it just never took off. I feel bad.
Yeah, I never played it past 2 or 3. I can't remember which was the last one I played, but you know, I had time in what was his name? Who was the ninja's name? Kage?
Kage,
yeah. Sorry,
the
spelled the
home
same.
of the
Anyways,
room, Rigarabaru. Kage.
played Kage and Sarah. So
Oh, okay. Like, I mean, as far as like the MK scene goes, like I feel like MK Ultimate is gonna kind of rejuvenate the community and revitalize it, and I hope that we don't go the Virtual Fighter route of like dead game in 6 months. I think this game's got enough juice, and I think at high level, like, the game was already solid. I think that the Ultimate patch and adding custom variations added depth at the intermediate level.
sure.
Because at high level,
the game's already been alive for a year and a half. And
Well-
how much life did they just add by doing this? And was this a good time to do that kind of an update, or could we have waited another
No.
3-6 months?
no, it needed this. It
Oh,
needed this.
100% the perfect time. It was the perfect time. We're in lockdown. There's nothing to do. We play video games, right?
Yeah.
There's Mortal Kombat 11. It's going to be all the same variations over and over and over again. Now you have customs. Now we can see the most random ass shit. I mean, still there are going to be tier whores who play Jackie, but there's also going to be people that don't really care about tier whores and only want to play what's fun for them.
Yeah.
It's a great time right now to play Mortal Kombat 11, like Badger said, or just join it.
Well,
For sure.
like, again, I think the intermediate depth is what Ultimate added, because at the end of the day, at high level, when I'm breaking down the game, I'm like thinking about like decision making, and I can tell that other top tier players like Ninja Killa, Sonic Fox, they're looking at it from that perspective. They're like, okay, I blocked a down one. What are my options versus what are your options? And we're finding the depth there. Whereas the intermediate player has the execution to pull off half of the shit, but they don't have the like mind games. They don't have the fundamentals and the mental aspect. And, you know, that just comes from experience, but they get bored because they're like, oh, I can only do like 5 combos total for my character. And this custom variation thing is like, no, you actually have millions of combos. Like, you can have double bar and you can equip this and that. And I think it's going to add a lot of depth at the intermediate level of play. There will be reasons to go into practice mode. There will be reasons to learn and figure out. And I think that's the thing that keeps intermediate players playing is like, is there more to learn? And Ultimate added a lot of shit to learn. Lab monsters, lab monkeys are definitely going to have their hands full.
I mean, I already lapped everything I could, even the customs, and I got bored, so it's not really anything new for me. The new characters are definitely the shit I've been labbing all week.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't consider you an intermediate player at all anyways. Like, I would consider you on the higher end of play. But, like, you know, at the I'm talking about your average Twitter FGC idiot that's just like, oh, like, blah, 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 blah. This game
Like me.
sucks. You know, like the guy who, like, has YouTube combos, you know? Like, they don't look at the game the same way. I realize that people don't look at this game, and this community the same way other communities look at their game. And you notice that with, like, things that, like, Sonic Fox saying everybody fucking sucks and nobody labs. They're not wrong. Nobody looks at the
Not
game from
wrong.
that perspective. Like, nobody sits there and says, what are my tools? How do I win? What do I do to beat this idiot who just is jumping around like upgraded Jackie? They're just, like, they're so caught up on, like, less of the decision making and more on the execution of, like, oh, I can do these very, very intricate, difficult combos. They're never going to land any of those hits, but, like, they think that they're good because they can do that shit. I mean, how many people do you get on your stream? I know I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I would have won if I landed my combo. Hey, can I do my combo? Can I show you my combo? And it's like, yeah, like, I'll just stand here and let you do your combo so that way people can see that you can do this thing. But, like, you're never landing that thing on me. You're never going to hit me with that.
Yeah. And back to the Sonic Fox saying everybody that sucks kind of deal. You know, you've talked about that several times on this podcast, and I feel like I could even just add a bit of a gray area to that, as I would consider myself on the mess side of average when it comes to playing this game. You know, like I can pull off a 50% record in Combat League. I like to enter the tournaments to make myself better, but you know, I don't think I've taken a round in the last 6 weeks.
That still puts you, like, in the top, like, at least 50% of the game. I would even go as far as to say, like, the top 75% of people that play this game.
Better in my mind than I am in the game. Let's put it that way.
Well,
But,
honestly, I
you
would
know,
say you're
go
better
into
in the
the
game
lab.
than your mind. You're better
I-
at the game than
so-
you give yourself credit for.
Fighting
Possibly.
games average is always really hard.
But so I
no
take
one
things
really
into the
labs
lab,
for it.
and you know, I do try out the combos, sure, but I'm also one of those ones that tries to figure out where I can counter, as you were talking about. What can I do after blocking this poke? What can I do, or where are the flawless block gaps in this character's strings? Where can I low profile or punish and that kind of stuff? But when it comes to online play, finding an opponent that you can actually do that on is pretty tough. You
Yeah,
know,
in
maybe it's just
Combat
that my
League.
reaction times aren't there. You know, we've mentioned Tom Brady a couple of times. That guy's got maybe a couple months in age on me. You're slightly younger than us, SoCal. So, you know, maybe it's the reaction time starting to fail. Maybe it's just that I'm not recognizing that those gaps are actually happening in a live match.
If you think reactions are your problem, then I can tell you that reactions are not your problem.
Okay.
So the reason
So-
for that, let me break it down. Most of the shit that matters in this game is unseeable. So it doesn't matter if your reactions are good. Like, okay, so we have Scorpion and Molina on screen. Scorpion's fastest mid is going to be 13 frames with forward 3. Molina's fastest mid is 10 frames with back 1. Both of them can also mix you up with a grab, which is 10 frames. The seeable range is 25 frames. So anything faster than 25 frames, you can't react. So when Molina or Scorpion mix you up with strike throw, you couldn't have reacted anyways. I don't care if you're Sonic Fox. You're not seeing and reacting to a 10 frame mid versus a 10 frame grab. You're not
Yeah,
reacting.
you're not
It's not
reacting, you're
happening.
proacting.
So at the end of the day, how do you navigate that? Is it just a guess? Is it just a 50-50 the way people think it is? Well, no. No, because the decision making is flawed. It's skewed, right? A combo off of a 10 frame mid is going to hit way harder than a grab. So by having differing rewards for different options, you can make an educated guess. You can look at their life lead and say, okay, this guy's losing. If he grabs me, he's not going to make up that life lead. But if he gets a hit and lands a combo, now we have a close match. So I'm going to make an educated guess to block. Okay, there's the mid. I blocked it. Okay, they overcommitted. Now I can punish, and now I win the round. Like, that's not random. That's not 50-50. That's making an educated guess
That's
based
also
on the
assuming
information.
that your opponent is in the same mind space, right? Like, are they thinking the same way? Are they seeing that they may not make up that life deficit by
It doesn't
doing
matter.
a throw, or
It
they
doesn't-
just want to come in and that's their game? Like, a lot of people will do the empty jump throw, and they'll do that as often as they can. They'll walk across the entire goddamn screen just to
Yep.
throw you.
But the thing is, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I know that I can't see and react which one's going to hurt me more, and I can make my decision based on that. And if they grab me, then they grab me. Okay, fine. I still, have the health lead. they didn't get enough damage off of me. I was able to mitigate their most damaging option. And that's the decision-making process. Stop trying to react to what is happening on screen. Start trying to think of things in the layers of options and then go from there. So I block their down poke. These are their options. This is going to be their biggest payoff. I will mitigate that. And if I take the little chip damage of the fucking grab or anything small like that, whatever, I made my decision. I don't want to take a 50% combo. And that's how you play this game at high level. You make an educated guess based on what they're doing, because this game is slow enough to where you can do that. Like something like Marvel is more of like a reaction-based game. But in this game, you can't react to anything. And so you have to kind of, it's more about conditioning. It's more about the long game. It's more about, okay, like how much time is on the clock? How much health do they have? Where is my positioning? What are my options? What are their options? I come up with 3 contingency plans. I come up with, that's what I kind of did in my Molina video that a lot of you didn't watch. Is in that strategy video, I didn't just say these are your best moves, these are your combos, this is your frame data. I said these are your follow-ups. You need to think 3 moves in advance. Start with this move. Then, depending on how that plays out, you can go into one of 10 other options to keep your offense unpredictable. And that's this game at high level. That was a very good video,
by the way.
Why, thank you. But people don't look at the game in those terms. They don't look at it from that perspective of like, how do I build a strategy based on my options? What are my follow-ups? What am I doing with my next 5 moves? And people don't do that. They're just like, down 1 jail, do combo. Down 1 grab. Oki. Wake up. Meaty. You know? What were you saying, Cabalsite?
I said wake up buttons to add on all this because it's still very much broken.
Well, the up 2, up 3?
I don't think
No, just wake up buttons and media just don't exist in this game. There was a I don't know if you saw the picture was just Molina back one.
There's them.
You're breaking up, Cabalsack. Nobody can hear you. As far as Wake Up goes, I think the problem with Wake Up right now and why people are still getting hit with Wake Up buttons is because people haven't adjusted to the new meaty time. Meaties are 4 frames faster. I've been missing a lot of meaties myself. It sounded like somebody left Discord. Is anybody still here with me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Here. But yeah, people are missing their
is.
meaties because like they don't have the timing down. Wake Up is different. Like the timing is different. I've been hitting meaties like late a lot, because I haven't adjusted to the new Wake Up timing. That's why Wake Up.
The new Wake Up timing was a system-wide buff for a couple of different character variations, right? Like Frost variation with the rolling grenade, Sonya's 10 hut. Like,
yeah, but people are saying that like Wake Up buttons still exist and like you could still do Wake Up buttons and that it's still the meta. And I'm like, no, Wake Up buttons, people are getting away with it because you haven't locked down your meaty timing. So, like, they didn't just remove short delay. They changed the timing on meaties, period. So before it was like, okay, can I even go for a meaty? Because there's like 5 different delays that can blow me up. Now there's only 2, but the original delay, the regular just get up off the ground, the timing for that has changed, and people are missing their meaties. So it's not that Wake Up buttons are just as strong or stronger than they've ever been. It's that, like, you're not that good at timing your meaties. Like, people need to just accept that. Just, okay, I had the meaty timing. And it's really weird
because with the change in the timing, they've added that animation, so you've got that tell as to when you can come in or when you can launch or whatever, go for your meaty attack, right?
Yeah.
Like they're...
But it takes lab time.
Yeah, they're in the animation. You now have like 1 second or whatever it is. I haven't timed it, but
I believe it's a little bit more than a quarter of a second. What is it, like 25 frames? So you're on the floor for 4 frames less. You used to be on the floor for between 15 and 20 frames or whatever. And now it's like just straight up, you're either going to be getting up right away or you're getting up at 20 frames or whatever. But the actual laying down animation is where they took the frames off. So you're laying on the get up, the actual getting up is still 25 frames, but laying down is 4 frames less. So you do have to change your meaty timings, and a lot of people just don't have that down because it's different. We've trained for a meaty timing for a whole year, and you're going to go and change that. So wake up buttons aren't still a thing. You just have to get better at your meaties. You've got to lab the new timing.
Still, with the new timing, you have the opponent still has up 3 and roll to punish you for meeting.
Well, I think what it's done now is that people have to up 3 or roll. Once people get the meaty timing down, and especially with delayed wake up, you could fucking see that shit and react and say, okay, he's doing delay. I'll just wait on my meaty. But once people get their meaty timing down, you will have to do rolls and up 3s and up 2s to get them off of you. It's just gonna, or delay obviously, but delay is seeable now. Once people get better at wake up will be a problem for a lot of players. And a lot of people don't know how to navigate that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to blowing up everybody who sucks at fighting
myself.
games. Go ahead.
So from the new characters, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the best, and who do you guys think is the worst?
You could start that one.
I have yet to put any time into Rain. I was hoping to do that sometime this weekend, but I'm just having far too much fun with Melina and trying to iron out the wrinkles I have with her online. I put a little bit of time into Rambo. I never took him online, but I've been trying out his stuff, and honestly, he feels pretty stiff to me. I can see where the appeal lies for a lot of players, but I like characters that just have fluidity in their movement, and Rambo just doesn't have that for me.
Well, he's not a trained, he's not a kung fu expert. I like how they've done his animations because they seem very unbalanced. As a martial artist, when he's flailing his arms, he's just kind of swinging as hard as he can. And to me, that fits Rambo because he's not, he's not doing poses and whooshy shit, right? He's just kind of swinging haymakers.
Absolutely,
at you.
I can't argue with that.
So I as far as who I think is going to end up being the meta, I think Rambo's probably the best character of the 3 DLCs. I think he plays the game as it is very fucking well, and he brings his own unique shit to the table to make him stand out. He's got so much shit, and he's got so many good buttons and so many options, and I'm not seeing that out of Rain and Melina.
Yeah, me too. I've played a little bit of all the characters, mostly Rain and Rambo. And from what I can see, Rambo is definitely the strongest of the 3, and Molina, I need more time testing, but from right now, it's beginning to feel like she's the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, I definitely am getting the impression that Melina, she's good, but the more I play her, the more I realize she's definitely going to struggle against...
She's gimmicky.
No, I wouldn't say she's gimmicky. I'd say that she's the opposite. She's very one-dimensional. She reminds me a lot of Fujin in that, what she wants to do is really fucking simple. But it's hard to do. So Fujin basically just wants to fucking hammer you with back 1-1. That's what he's fishing for. The whole match, Fujin wants to hit you with back 1-1. And, if he can hit you with back 1-1, he can convert for big fucking damage. How you land that back 1-1 is the hard part. And that's basically right. Melina. And she plays the game similar to him in that, his defense and his offense is, evasive with weird hitboxes and weird, whiffing issues that are built in. His down 4 kind of low profiles and high crushes at the same time. He's got weird buttons that just avoid everything, and Melina is the same way. So in order to land, and Melina's the same thing, her strategy is land the back 1-1 for big damage. So, she does the same thing as Fujin, but with like a couple of different toolkits. Like she's got, easier combos, and she's got a grab, and she can't walk in the sky. But other than that, like she's doing the same thing. She's like evading you with her weird ass pokes and fishing for back 1-1 into full combo. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it's simple. It's a very
What I'd really like.
It's simple but hard to execute.
I can't say what I'd like to see, I guess, but the one thing that I'm not a fan of with Melina so far, and this being from a 27-year Melina main and still not a stan, is I don't like how stubby a lot of her attacks are. Her back 1-1, her stand 1-1, her 2-3-3, even her stand 3-4. Like she has a couple of reaching attacks with her forward 2, her forward 1.
Melina's
her forward 4.
She's kind of a set play character. She's a set play mix-up character who basically just abuses strike throw. And so as far as her range goes, in order to get in like reliably, first of all, if it lags, like you're kind of fucked because you're just gonna eat down to fucking crushing blows all day. But basically, you get in with down 3, which she has like the best down 3 in the game. Like that thing is stupid. Down 3, jail into forward 1. Now you're in. So within 2 reads, right? So I read the down 3. And I hit that. Now you're jailed. And then I did forward 1. I read that. You didn't block. You mashed or you tried to duck or whatever. You tried to down 2 mash even though you shouldn't be able to. But you're trying, right? So I made 2 reads and now I'm in. Forward 1, I'm in within 2 reads as long as I can get into forward or down 3 range. So she's very one-dimensional. It's like down 3, forward 1. Now what do I do off the forward 1? I'm either going to mix you up with a grab or I'm going to mix you up with a mid and go for big damage. And like that's it. That's Melina in a nutshell. Like her stubby moves are stubby because she's not supposed to have big options from like farther out. Basically, her whole game plan is mixing up the timing, right? Because you're going to be looking for flawless blocks. You're going to be looking to counter poke and counter mash and stick out a button here and there. And so she's got these weird moves that have no range but are like kind of slow. And the idea is that you set up frame traps with her. And a lot of people don't understand frame traps, and they don't have really good fundamentals or neutral. So, like, they don't know what to do with Melina. They're just like, yo, I can't get in, and I don't have anything that has any good range other than just zone like a bitch. And
the thing that I noticed with Melina is when you're doing her staggers, if you're just going to stagger her back 1-1 or even her 2-3-3, then there's enough pushback off of that stagger. Just don't complete the combo. There's enough pushback where if they want to try and counter with a throw, or most characters with their down 2, if they don't have the horizontal hitbox with their down 2, then you're left out of range of that, and you can punish it easily with like a forward 2-3 crushing blow.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, outside of the stagger, a lot of people aren't really noticing that after you stagger back 1-1, it leaves you literally in range. If you stagger back 1, you're within range to do another back 1. If you do back 1-1, you're literally in range to down 3 and then forward 1. And they have to respect that. There's nothing that they can do to avoid that. I just don't think that she's going to compete in the meta because I feel like her weaknesses are, going to be a problem. She's really weak to jumping. Her anti-airs are kind of trash. Like, she's got down 4.
I think down 4. Yeah.
Down 4 is all right. Her standing jab's all right. Her down 2 is trash. She doesn't have like a whole lot to deal with jump-ins, and her jump isn't all that good. Like,
no.
I would
even her jump kick.
Well, just her jump animation. Her jump animation is very slow and floaty, which is traditional for Melina. She's kind of always had a floaty jump. Because her whole thing is that her jump is slow on purpose to bait anti-airs to punish with like air teleport or whatever. But like the problem,
I've noticed that all of the new DLC have really bad anti-airs.
No,
that is true.
I think Rambo's got a decent anti-air. His standing 2 is really good, and his standing 1 is really good.
Yeah.
I think Rain has very good. Rain has very good anti-airs. His standing 1 is really good. His standing 2 is really good. He's got the fucking hydro fucking hand. Rain has a lot of good anti-air options. Melina,
Rain's got that. Rain's got that spinny kick too, right? Where he does like that floating tornado kick almost.
Yeah, I
Do you
don't know
mean
that I would
the
use that
Champion
as an
3
anti.
or Forward 3?
I think he's talking about forward
Not
3.
sure exactly which one it is. I haven't put any time into Rain at all. I think it's a special move, but he jumps up with that little burst of water under him, and he does like the double kick,
Oh, that's
double
forward
spinning
3.
kick.
Yeah, that's forward
Okay.
3. That thing's not bad as an anti-air. It's all right. It's more of a gaining ground. I think Rain is gonna end up being one of the better characters in the game. Once they get his bugs fixed, like they fixed the back forward 4 that he has. So that got fixed.
Didn't they
there's
fix
a-
the facing left issue as
Yeah,
well?
apparently they
Yeah,
fixed
that's
it.
the back forward 4.
He's still got some weird
There's
hitbox
still
issues.
hydro. Yeah, especially if hydro boost.
Yeah, he's still got weird hitbox issues. I don't know if that's intended, but a lot of weird ass strings just kind of whiff. I was in the lab with him for the past couple of days, and a lot of shit just whiffs with him. But as far as like Rain's strategy, his thunderstorm, that little cloud move is fucking stupid. That's gonna be his meta. I anticipate in like 2 or 3 months, every Rain build will have that thundercloud.
Maybe. I still
Because-
think the best build for him is hydro boost, tidal wave, and air squirt.
The thing is, that would be a very, very good build if Rain had good neutral, because then you could just fish for counter hits or fish for hit confirm into the hydro lift, the fucking rising water, right? You would just be fishing for hits in the neutral to hit
That
confirm
move
into
looks
that.
so busted.
But here's the problem: Rain's neutral is bad. His best neutral tool, I think, in my opinion, is probably forward 4. Gives you a knockdown, lets you do Oki games, but his neutral is pretty bad. What Rain has with that cloud is set play. You end every combo into that, and it's basically Z-Hat from Kung Lao, but like Rain is safer and easier to hit confirm. So I think once you get that rain cloud out, like once I hit confirm into that rain cloud, like I'm literally putting you in a 50-50 for the rest of the round. You just have to guess. And if you guess wrong, I'm going to hit you for a combo that puts you back into the cloud. And if I want to be a dick, man, I can sit there and pressure you with that cloud, and you have to block, because once I get the cloud out, that hit is coming out. And it's delayed enough to where I can forward dash. So I end my combo into cloud. I can forward dash before the hit comes out on your wake up. If you do an up 3 or anything like that, the cloud is probably going to hit you. And so now I'm in. I'm in for free after a combo, and you have to respect it. The only way out is like if you roll, you can roll to avoid it, but now I'm safe because I'm dashing in and you're rolling. Or like
Let's
doing
frost bomb
Light-
the ground ice.
Lightning
it's
gets
basically
away
that.
on hit. Up 3 probably beats it.
I think lightning comes out a little bit later. Like if they up 3, I think lightning still catches them. Like they kind of have to respect it.
It's probably dependent on. It's probably dependent on what you use as an ender. Might be a situation where it's really dependent on hit advantage and not when it comes out. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's more towards hit advantage when they're knocked down.
No, because the thing is you can amplify it and get like the 3 lightning bolts for a full combo that leads right back into it. Like Rain is a set play character. He reminds me a lot of like Buzz Devora, but with like more combos. More combos and less neutral. Like if you took Devora and you took away her good buttons, like her forward 1 and her forward 2, take away her neutral but give her better combos, and that's Rain. He's very low damage, high execution set play. Like he was kind of built for high level players to get a kick out of. Your average player isn't going to be able to figure out heads or tails what to do with Rain, like outside of just I want to do swaggy YouTube combos. But like that cloud is fucking nasty. It's really nasty.
I don't think he has bad damage. I think his damage is mediocre for what he does.
Like he could kind of get 30% easy off of 1 bar, but then you lose all your set play. So like if you're going for the Rain Cloud build, your damage is going to be low because you're ending everything with Rain Cloud. But like the potential to not stop hitting them. It's like, do I want to hit them once really, really hard, or do I want to hit them 1,000 times for little damage, and Rain Cloud allows you to do that. But the thing is, it allows you to control the pace and momentum of a match that, like, he just snowballs you. It's kind of like I said, like Devora or Jax. Like, once he gets started, like, you're just kind of in a coin toss the rest of the round. Like, you're just gonna die.
That's probably more important than going for the one-time big heavy hits, right? Would you rather have the crushing blow meter burn combos that do 45% once per round or even once per match? Or do you want to chip away at them for 21, 23, whatever that percent, and do that 10 times with almost no limit?
And not only that, but do it safely. Because Rain is actually
Exactly.
pretty safe. Like, he can cancel everything into that fucking Qatar and keep himself safe. Like, and so basically he's like a safer Devora. You never have to overcommit. You never have to do anything that will put you in a bad position. Like, once you get started, you can safely just keep that whole loop going over and over and over. And there's not much they can do. Like, that Rain Cloud is going to be the secret to Rain. I think everybody right now, because of all the YouTubers and content creators, everybody's posting Rain, like, combo videos. And so that's what kind of everyone's focusing on. It's like, oh yeah, look at how much damage. Look at the fucking wall carry. Because everybody focuses on combos. Like, that's like the most important thing. And I'm like, dude, look at this setup. Like, you can't do anything. You have to block. And if you block, I grab you. And then if I grab you, I put another cloud down on your wake up, and now you have to block again. Like, it's so cheap. I don't know why other people aren't looking at that. Everybody's looking at the Hydro boost, and I think that's why it was like buggy. And because NetherRealm didn't really test it, they just kind of threw it in. We'll throw in a combo extender that people can use to extend their combos mid-screen without having to side swap. And that's like literally all that move is like, I can get combos mid-screen, and I don't have to side swap. I can get a full wall carry. But, like, who fucking cares when
It's
I
also
can
plus and block.
Sorta. You can jab anti-air. So if they do that and you do the jump, you can... I don't know if it's before or after. I think it's before the jump punch. You can anti-air jab for a full combo. It's kind of like upgraded Jackie.
Yeah, but on a jump punch, if he does jump in kick, he's, I believe, like at maximum like -1, but I might be wrong. But he eats everything. He can't jab him or down 2-1.
Yeah, but, like, even then, I'm sure that people will find some sort of counterplay tactic to that. Like, I don't think that that's going to be, like, everything. You can still flawless block the jump kick.
I just said it as an option to do the Hydro boost.
But I think that Rain Cloud is going to be the key to, like, Rain's gameplay. That's just from my labbing it and just seeing in, like, 10 minutes, like, how nasty that shit is when you end every combo with it. Like, it's literally just Z-Hat. That's what it is. It's Z-Hat, and you can use it in the nooch because it's so slow. Like, you could call that thing out and meter burn it, and unless they have godlike reactions, like, you're in for free. Like, people are sitting there complaining, like, oh man, I can't get in with Rain. He's so stumpy. And I'm like, dude, you put out that fucking cloud and then dash. What are they going to do? Press a button? You're going to launch him. If you meter burn that cloud, the third hit launches. I get a fucking combo. If you press a button when I get that cloud out, I get a combo into another cloud. Like, Rain is a set play mix-up monster. He's literally Devora with combos. That's Rain. Devora minus forward 1 and forward 2, but with combos instead.
That brings us back to...
There's not much of it. You just said it all.
Yeah, and that's just it. People need to really realize how important setups are instead of going for the big damage combos.
Sorta.
The big damage combos are nice. It's flashy and it feels good when you're just melting half a life bar.
Well,
but at the same time, you got to realize that you can't be fishing for that the entire time, right? Do the little stuff, fish for the launchers or the setups and whatnot, right? Like, play a patient game. And that honestly is one of my greatest faults, is that I get on a roll. If I've got the pressure, I tend to lose focus on my patience. When they start countering some of my stuff, then I'm just too slow to realize it, and it ends up ending me.
Well, that has that is a different problem. The reason why that's happening is because you don't have the Yomi layers. I suggest reading Playing to Win and understanding Yomi layers. Maybe I'll do that as my next YouTube video, is covering Yomi layers. Because you seem to have this thing set in your mind that like reactions matter, and like they don't. I actually have very good reaction time and very good reaction speed. So those of you that watch my stream and watch me play, you know that I can react pretty quickly. I don't think I've ever won a match because of good reactions. I just can't really think of any situation where I've made a reaction. I think the only time my reactions actually helped me was at a tournament. I reacted to a Sub-Zero doing forward 2 and I punished it. But even that, like, that wasn't why I won that matchup. It was just one of the reasons why that guy didn't win. But I don't think reactions matter so much in this game. There's too much that's unseeable. The things that are seeable are, like, very few and far between, and they're, like, obvious. Like, if somebody goes for a short hop attack, like, it's obvious to see that shit and react to it. Like, really, honestly, this game's meta at high level is pick a strategy and then do it. It's less about in-match decision making and more like chess. It's more of like, I'm thinking 5 moves ahead and coming up with contingency plans for your 5 options to deal with my 5 moves. Now I'm going to do my first move, see how you respond to it, and then I'm going to pick my follow-ups from there and change up. But like a lot of that happens before you even engage. Like before you press a down 1, like you should have like, okay, if my down 1 hits, I'm jailing. If my down 1's blocked, I'm blocking. If my down 1 hits, next time I'm going for a grab to keep myself unpredictable. That's not like you're not reacting. You're coming up with that shit before you even engage. And that's where the meta of this game is like coming up with a strategy and follow-ups and then just executing on them.
That's the second time you've used chess as an analogy for Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, because I feel like it is closer to chess than other games. Because, like, you look at chess played at, like, the pro level, it's like, it's not about, like, oh, yeah, this is, you know, this and, you know, like, oh, fucking, oh, he did this move. Like, I'm going to counter this move with this move. It's more of
the
he is
players
executing.
go in there with their own game and they execute.
Yeah, it's like he's going for the 3 kings strategy, so I have to move this pawn into this position, and then I move the knight into this position, and then I can go into the imperial strategy, or I can go to the Popper's Bakery strategy. But it's like you're not picking moves, you're picking strategy. You're picking a whole game plan, and then when they reveal what their game plan is, you're picking an entirely new game plan to counter it. So it's not like, oh yeah, he did a down 1, let me react to what he's doing off of his down 1. It's like, oh, he's playing Buzz Devora, so he's going to be fishing for the unblockable. This is how I blow up the unblockable. Also, I'm playing Liu Kang, so I'm going to be fishing for back 1 staggers or forward 4 staggers. So what is he going to do about what I want to do, and what am I going to do about what he wants to do? Let's play the match. Bam. That's the meta for this game. That's the mindset, and that's how you get good at this game. Is not like, oh, man, he plays Sub-Zero, I can't react, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't have to react to Sub-Zero if you understand fundamentals and spacing, because forward 2 is 19 frames on startup. He has no good mids, and back 3 is 13 frames on startup. So with that information, if he's ever in range to do forward 2, back 3, I'm going to mash down 1 and interrupt him. I'm not reacting to anything. He's in range to do those things. I'm mashing down 1 to interrupt him, and that's where Sub-Zero's game plan of I'm going to backdash into back 3 or backdash into forward 2 to catch you whiffing your down 1, because you know that I am weak to that, but I know my strategy to counter that. Well, there's no reaction. That's not point-to-point decision-making. That's like meta decision-making. Those decisions are made at character select screen.
Yeah, it's going to be...
Talk about how...
Sorry,
Can we just talk about how great Badger is at naming things?
I guess.
Yeah.
Badger is amazing at naming things.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the strategies from chess and the different types of what do you say the last time you did this, like the blue Power Ranger weave. You're great. That's the best part of it,
or whatever it was. Yeah, that was great.
I try.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, in going with this whole the mindset, bring your game, and then, or bring a few different strategies, and then, use the one that fits the situation. That honestly, in my perspective, and I'm sure that a lot of other people out there are having the same issue. Um, it's honestly, old habits die hard, right? I'm looking back in the arcade days, in offline play with the 3D era and whatnot. It was pretty easy to judge what the guy was doing and then countering at the time. Whereas now it is exactly as you say, but it's tough to get out of that mindset and try and almost rework everything we've ever known to fit what the game is today.
Sorta. I don't think that if you've got a little bit of legacy skill in fighting games, I don't think that the adjustment is going to be too big of a deal to go from like other fighting games to Ultimate, or even just MK Aftermath to Ultimate. I think it's just that it's, to me, it's more of a weakness in fundamentals than anything. Like, if you're having those problems, it means you're weak fundamentally. And when I say weak fundamentally, I mean like you don't have a game plan when you go in. Like, this game is very preparation heavy. Like, okay, so like, let me explain. On screen right now, I have the AI fighting each other. It's Melina and Raiden, right? You could sit there and try and react and guess and like try and feel your opponent. But there is some, and there's a reason why the variation system is the way it is. There is some standard to every character that you have to have a contingency for, and that's pre-prep. Like, I have Raiden on screen. I know Raiden is going to fish for, brutalities, right? But Raiden is going to be fishing for back 1-2. And
Yep.
if I can shut down back 1-2, the match can sway in my favor very fucking quickly. And so that's what you have to, that's how you should be building your strategy is, how do I counter back 1-2, and how is he going to use back 1-2? And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to play a little conservative, let him do what he wants to do, because I want to see what he does after back 1-2. And then once I see what he does, I can sit there and say, oh, okay, he likes to go for the grab. I have a contingency for that. Oh, okay, he likes to just dial in fucking Storm Cell. I have a contingency for that. But the initial, like, okay, he's Raiden. He's going to go for back 1-2. What am I going to do? That pre-prep, that's the thing that people don't do, is they don't have an option. They don't have an answer to start with. So at the end of the day, what are you really reacting to? If you're sitting there and saying, like, I can't react to Raiden, it's like, dude, back 1's 11 frames. You can't react to it anyways. So you need to have an idea of what to do about back 1. And then the only reaction you're doing is, he did it. He did back 1. He did the back 1-2. I reacted. That string is slow and has a long animation. So I've reacted to back 1-2. What am I doing now? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what he's going to do afterwards. So I'm going to block, wait for him to do it. Okay, there we go. That's his follow-up. That's what he likes to do. Now I will punish that, because I have a contingency plan that I prepared beforehand before going into this matchup. And I think that this is one of the few games where that kind of knowledge matters. Like with Tekken, you don't have to have a lot of game knowledge to be good at Tekken. Like if you have good reactions and can whiff punish like a god, like you don't need to know any of the frame data. You just backdash, whiff punish, full combo. Learn a bread and butter combo, work on your movement, and you can play Tekken. Whereas in this game, like, you actually have to memorize more in this game than you do Tekken. It's the paradox that I've seen covered. I forget who did it, but it's the problem with Fantasy Strike. The less moves you have, the more I have to memorize. The more moves you have, the less I have to memorize. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you have less moves, any one of those moves could come out at any time. So I have to memorize all of them because there's so few. And basically, you're not going to be able to catch me unaware. Like, you're at high level, you're not going to show me anything that I haven't really already seen, at least when this game evolves. You know, when this game has evolved to that point where the high level is what it is, you're not going to show me anything that I haven't seen before. So it's all about your pre-prep. Whereas in Tekken, like, if I don't know your frame data, I don't know your command list, like, I can win entire matches just like Korean backdash electric. Like I can Korean backdash, wave dash in, electric, full combo punish, wall carry, and then Oki mix up you for the rest of the round. And I know no frame data. All I know is I can do electrics and I have a bread and butter combo and I'm going to land that. You can't do that in this game. Like whiff punishing and footsies and fundamentals are like a big part. And yeah, you can do that if you play noob Cybot or someone who's kind of locked into fundamentals like footsies and whiff punishing. But like if you're playing Rain, if I'm playing Rain and you don't know the cloud setups, you're just fucked. You have to memorize the cloud setups, know how to escape them, and that's how you beat Rain. And it doesn't matter how good your neutral is or how good you are in fundamentals. If you don't know that escape, you're fucked. You're dead. I'm just going to do it and you're just going to die. And there's very little of that in other games. That's why I say MK has some of the best set play.
After you said that, I went back to some of the older NRS games, and I agree with you. NRS that are good at set play and setups rather than not what I said last time.
Yeah, like if you don't know the setups, you just die. Like if you don't know how to get out of Devora's bullshit, you're just dead. Like that's it. It doesn't matter how good your fundamentals are or how good your neutral is. Like if Terminator gets in and starts mixing you up, it doesn't matter how good you are at neutral. You're getting mixed. You're dead. He set you up. He set the chess. That's why I say MK11 is a lot like chess. I set up all the pieces, and now it's checkmate. The match isn't over. You can still play, but like unless you do these 3 moves in these next 3 turns, I win no matter what. That's MK. That's MK11 is I set up the chess pieces, and if you don't do this specific escape, like you don't neutral duck right here, this is where you have to neutral duck it. If you don't know that, I put you back in the trap and you're dead. I win. I'll just fucking steamroll you. I'll fucking snowball it and you're done. And it doesn't matter how good your fundamentals are. That's the problem. That's one of the things that a lot of people complain about with MK11 is like you can have godlike fundamentals, but if somebody picks Devora and set plays you, or Scarlet and set plays you, you're just fucked. But like, I don't think that that's bad, to be honest, because I feel like you can still overcome that. If you know the escapes, then you can reset to neutral. Like if I'm fighting a Devora, right, and I know the escape for the fucking bug setup, right, the unblockable setup, I know that escape. I escape every time and punish you every time, and now it goes back to neutral. So like you can have godlike neutral and win matches with godlike neutral, but you have to have game knowledge to supplement it. You can't win this game on just fundamentals alone. You have to have game knowledge at high level. At intermediate level, you can win on fundamentals. You can just whiff punish, play footsies, play noob Cybot, blow them up, forward 2 every time you push a button. But at high level, you have to know the tech. You have to.
There's not much to say. Like every other podcast.
I like pause to let you guys fucking talk and like, you know.
Trying to think of something to follow up with that.
Well, what do you want us to talk about?
You know,
what do you want us to talk about? The same shit you just said?
Well, I don't know about your experience in this game or others, Kabalin, but with me, I've played very few characters. You know, I know someone like Badger or, you know, there's a number of people out there that can play almost anyone on the roster. You know, there's another one I can think of within a close circle with me and Polos. We've got a training partner, goes by the name GK Day. Guy plays everyone on the roster. You give him 20 minutes with a character, he'll fucking nuke you. But
well, that's with fundamentals. There are ways of beating those kind of people. Those are the people that are very solid at fundamentals, and if they're really good at fundamentals, they can control a match to where your set play doesn't come into. Those are the people that complain about getting robbed. They complain about robbery mechanics. People with solid fundamentals, when they get set played, those are the people that are like, this game is just scrubby and like, oh, it's just lol 50-50, lol mix up. And it's like, well, you didn't know the setup. Like, you tried to beat me on fundamentals, and I knew that you didn't know that setup, so I blew you up with the setup. Like, maybe understand your own weaknesses as a player. Somebody in chat was saying that, like, you know, that most of the MK players are trash at other fighting games. I agree, but the players of that are good at other fighting games are unstoppable in MK. Like, Sonic Fox, like, say what you want about Sonic Fox. I know I've said a lot of things about Sonic Fox, but you can't deny that, like, Sonic Fox is good at fighting games. I think that there's a very steep drop-off of high-level players to everybody else. And you see it. You see it when Sonic Fox plays somebody in tournament and just blows them up with, like, stupid shit. Just roll overhead, You know, and you're just like, what the fuck? And it's because Sonic Fox is just that much better at fighting games than your average player. But like, you can
And
definitely
they've been that way since they were a child.
Well, Sonic Fox was bred for fighting games. I've discussed that before. Like, his brother definitely made sure that he was bred for fighting games. But a lot of the people that hate on MK and call it scrubby, it's because they don't understand how to play MK. They understand fighting games. They understand fighting game fundamentals. But, like, MK is more than that. Like, fundamentals will take you far. But knowledge, and it says it in the fucking loading screen, knowledge is power. And if you don't know the setups and you don't know the gimmicks, because this game is very, very gimmicky, but like if you know the gimmicks are irrelevant. Like if I know all your setups, like they're irrelevant and now you have to beat me in the nooch. But a lot of people, they don't know the setups, they don't lab, they don't practice, they don't look for escapes and things like that. So they get beat up by set play and they call the game scrubby. And it's like, well, no, like that's the Yomi layer, right? You have your set play. And then if I don't counter your set play, you just loop that set over and over and over and over until I die. That's it. That's the game. It's done. Doesn't matter how good my neutral is. I'm just getting looped into the set play. But once I have the knowledge, once I know that setup and I know that gimmick and I know the escape and I know how to blow it up, I effectively took that from you. You no longer have that tool. Now what else do you have? Do you have another setup? No, you don't have another setup? Then I can beat you in the nooch. And that's the decision-making process I do with matches. When I look at somebody, I look at what they're trying to do. I take, like, that's why I play very, very conservative. And I block a lot, and I don't do dive kicks and teleports and shit like that. I'm not as aggressive as you would think because I want to see what you're going to do, right? You're going to do something stupid. I know that I have very, very solid fundamentals, and I can beat you in the neutral. But I want to see if I have to do that. Can I set play you? Do you know this escape? That's how I win with Devora. Do they know that they can punish the OV loops? Oh, they're blocking and not punishing me over and over and over. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and you have to deal with it until you figure out the punish. I'm just going to do that. Oh, they punished it? Okay, now I'm going to play them in the nooch. Let's see if they can beat my neutral. Oh, they can't? All right, I win. And that's the meta for this game. That's how this game is played. It is like, I have a gimmick. Can you beat it? If you can, then we play the nooch. But a lot of times to get those setups, you have to play the nooch. Like Rambo has a lot of really good setups. Rain has a lot of really good setups and a lot of good set play. But you got to win the neutral to set that shit up anyways. So neutral matters in this game, but it doesn't matter like knowledge, game knowledge, lab time, practice mode, and just matchup experience matters more than fundamentals. Fundamentals will take you so far in this game at intermediate level. It's not until high level. High level is when you start seeing fundamentals really matter. Because at high level, everybody knows all the gimmicks. Everybody knows all the setups. So, like, everybody knows how to counter them. So everybody has to win in the nooch.
Yeah, we've talked about this in last stream when you reviewed my replay, right? The one with, I'm not going to say who it is, but
when you beat Biohazard and Chase Cloud on him?
No, I didn't beat him. I won 2 times. He won 5 times. It's not really a victory. It's more like a pity victory, let's say.
You like all worried that Biohazard's gonna get mad? I think he would be honored, like that you were such a huge fan of him that like you started fanboying for him. I don't think Biohazard would get mad. I think Biohazard would be like honored to have like, because I mean you're the biggest fucking Biohazard fanboy as it is. I don't think that he would get mad.
Worst
You could
case
say
scenario,
his name.
Biohazard will be indifferent, right? He'll be like, yeah, sure, go ahead, upload it. I don't care.
Yeah. Best case scenario is Biohazard appreciates how much of a fan you are and like maybe takes you under his wing and teaches you how to play. But I don't think you should be scared to mention who it is.
Okay. We talked about that. Biohazard, right? You said he was an encyclopedia. He knows all the gimmicks. Right, like you just said. He's at high level. He knows all the gimmicks. He knows how to stop it. The way to beat him, the way I beat him the 2 times was I beat him in the neutral, and I beat him using lesser known set play.
Yeah, you beat him with.
Realized how to beat the. Yeah, and when he realized how to beat the set play, he rolled me.
Yeah. That's kind of how the game is played at high level. Is like, here's my set play. Can you beat it? Oh shit, you can. All right, now we're playing the nooch. And like that's why I say that you don't play at the intermediate level. You play at a high level. You were able to go toe to toe with Biohazard. Nobody's saying that Biohazard is an intermediate. Everybody says Biohazard is one of the best in the world. The fact that you were able to go toe to toe in a set, you didn't win the set, but you were able to hold your own, means that you can compete at high level. So stop like discounting your ability. You competed. You got some matches in a set. You didn't win the set, but you competed. You weren't free. It wasn't easy for him. You made it difficult. But that actually, it's like you said, that displays exactly what I'm talking about, the flow of a match in MK11 entirely. You had a bunch of gimmicks and setups, and they worked. And when they stopped working, you had to play the nooch, and then the stronger player won because that stronger player had better fundamentals. But it wouldn't have gotten to that point if you guys didn't overcome each other's setups and gimmicks first.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
I have two. Yeah, like taking 2 on Biohazard. Kudos to you, Cabal, and I missed it, but now I want to. Is it posted somewhere that I can go watch?
I did a breakdown of it, but I haven't posted it on YouTube because, like, I just have life. I just continued living my life instead.
Yeah.
But
you can give me the VOD, and if you want, I'll cut it out for Amber.
yeah,
Amper.
I mean, it's the same thing when Julop, another member of our community, was able to go toe to toe with Biohazard. He did like a 1st to 5 with Biohazard, and he won, I think 2. Like you, he won 2 matches in the set. I think Biohazard was trying out a new character, but like that was when it dawned on him. Right? Not Rain. Rain is on screen, but that's when it dawned on him that he can compete at high level. Like for a while, he was like a lot of you guys, like, oh man, I can't do it. Like those players are untouchable. They're out of my range. They're out of my league. They're too good. And when he was able to take 2 matches, granted, Biohazard was trying a new character, so like it wouldn't have been the same. Right? Like he was playing his main and Biohazard was playing, it was like when Shiva first came out, like a week in. So a week old Shiva against like Julop's main. But Julop was able to take 2 wins. And so that means that at high level, he was able to hang. He wasn't able to win, but he can compete. And that's why that's what I want to say to like all of you guys that like follow my content, follow my show, follow my channel. I'm like, dude, you guys are all good enough to compete. You just got to stop shortchanging yourselves.
Yeah. Been trying to get into a lot of the exhibitions that are popping up. You got some of the more popular ones and then some other startups. And, it seems like my self-downplay ends up actually biting me when it comes to performance time because, I can go out there, I can control a match until the critical moment when I could take it. And then for some reason, it's like I take my foot off the gas and
You're a Flo.
I just end up losing the set.
You're Flo. I don't know if you guys know who Flo is. He's like kind of a meme in fighting games for being a choke artist. Flo's a brilliant player. He's beaten my ass in tournament like several times. He had a godlike Ermac in MK9, I believe. He just fucked me up with Ermac every time I fought him in a tournament. But like he's a choke artist. Like he'd be up, fucking 5 rounds to nothing, and then on the 6th round you fucking 7-0 him. And it's just like, what the fuck? He was winning. How did he choke so bad? Sounds like that's you. Like you choke.
Yeah, except it won't get to the point where I'm the 1 round from victory. It's like I get the person down into critical range, into fatal blow range, and then in the 1st round, and then it's almost like I just back off in fear. I just wait for them to try and burn the fatal blow so I can punish it. But they don't, so I'm lost as to what to do for the next 6 fucking rounds.
Well, I think you need to build an endgame situation. You need to have an endgame, right? So, like, especially like with set play, is like, okay, once I get you in this situation, I can loop it over and over and over, and you're just dead. And like, it sounds like you don't have that. You're just like you're so focused on the neutral and fundamentals, and this is why I don't have. Like, I know that those are my best tutorials on YouTube that people enjoy the most, is like my stuff on fundamentals and neutral. But I feel like fundamentals and neutral are such a high-end, high-level concept that, like, you shouldn't really bother with them at first. Like, you shouldn't work on fundamentals and neutral because the concepts are too complicated.
One of these days I'll find myself getting on to actually have a set with you and actually learn what I'm doing wrong.
Shit, I'll do a set with you after this podcast. I'll blow your ass up.
I can't.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I'm doing
that.
this, and then I'm busy for the day.
Oh, but I mean, like, if
Yeah,
you can come up with an end game, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
yeah. Also, Amp.
Yep.
But it seems like it's like you need a contingency plan. Like if it doesn't work, that if they don't throw a failed blow, what? You need another plan. You need to plan something out if they don't throw it
Right
out.
now, I think what the
You don't
plan needs
just
to
plan
be
one
is to
thing.
not be
Make
afraid of being seen as a scrub if I'm just going to chip out the last 10% of their health with
Nah,
zoning.
that's not even that's not the issue. The
nothing
issue
wrong
is
with that.
your moment to moment decision making. Just from talking and like watching you play and all that, your moment to moment decision making is bad. I would work on that. Because the thing is, you can't close, you choke, right? So that's a moment to moment decision making issue in that you don't have an end game scenario, you don't know how to set up that end game scenario, and you don't know how to put yourself in that. So when my opponent leaves an opening for me to put that in there, I'm not doing it. And that might be reaction, right? You're not reacting fast enough to know where that opening is. But like at the end of the day, it just seems like your weakness is like matchup knowledge and
Yep.
like fundamentals. Like
Yeah.
as far
Movement,
as
staying still, blocking, attacking, defending,
those wouldn't
jumping,
be
anti-air. Like those are my weaknesses right now.
those can be covered.
Set
You're
play
weak.
neutral. They're
No, it's the decision making. Like those all of that can be overcome. But you don't have moment to moment decision making. I don't need to anti air if I'm never in a position where you're safe to jump. And it's moment to moment decision making that allows you to be in that position. So if you're having a problem with jump ins, then the solution is not get better at anti airing. The solution is don't be where they can jump in on me. That's neutral.
Yeah.
That's fundamentals. That's decision making. If I stand here, you can't jump. So I don't have to anti air. I could play the match. And if you have that weakness, you can play your matches with that weakness in mind. I'm weak to anti-airs, so I'm just never going to stand in a place where I have to worry about anti-airing, and then go from there. Okay, maybe I'll just zone. I'll zone. I don't have to worry about
it's things like
anti-airing.
this
Yeah,
that are the exact reason that I watch
yeah,
and listen to your content, Badgers, because you just put it so simply. Like I've had it described to me by 3 or 4 other people, but the way you put it right now is exactly how it needed to be heard.
Why? Thank you. Be
Right?
sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
yeah.
What do you think
Well,
about my my advice? Leave a comment down below.
well, you can also give an example, Badger.
Well, I mean, the example would be easy. Like, say you're fighting Shang Tsung, right? And Shang
Yeah,
Tsung has a
I,
godlike jump in. His jump kick just beats everything. It's stupid. And it's very hard to
Baka's
anti-air,
jump kick.
right? Well, Shang Tsung's easier because he's a zoner, right? So I can stand at position 1, or position 0, which is point blank, right? And you can't jump in. I can stand at position 3 or 4, and your jump isn't gonna be long ranged enough. Like you're just gonna jump and miss, right? If I stand at range 2, your jump kick is hitting. If you get in the air, I'm either gonna block or I'm taking a jump kick. So in that matchup,
yeah,
my decision making is: am I good at zoning or counter zoning? Well, I play Kung Lao, so no, right? So my decision making is I need to be at position 0. I need to stay there. What do I do to get there? That's how I play this match. And that's how I play Shang Tsung. I need to get to position 0, and I need 5 things to mix you up at position 0. I need to mix you up with grab. I need to mix you up with this. I need to make it count. When I get to position 0, it's got to count. And then position
yeah.
3 and 4, like I'm fucked. Position 2, I'm fucked because I can't anti-air, and I have to deal with this fucking jump kick that's like impossible to anti-air. So that's when you go
Yeah.
into that matchup, you start at character select. He's Shang Tsung. I'm strong at position 0. How do I get there? Okay, my whole round is getting to position 0 where he can't really hurt me as bad as I can hurt him. And how do I get there? And what do I do when I get there? That's your moment-to-moment decision making. That's where your weakness is.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing as Rambo. I haven't been focusing on anti-airing. I've mostly been focusing on my fundamentals and how to instead of anti-airing them, how to make them whiff the jump in or just not be able to jump in, and then whiff the jump in, and then whiff punish or jump in. Say Like, for example, the Shang Tsung. I'm never gonna fucking enter that. That's not gonna happen. I'm either in position 0, where I can melee him, I can strike throw mix him. I'm Rambo. I'm really good at that. I have okay off throws. Or I could be at position 3 and 4. Hopefully he jumps. He jumps. Then I either whiff punish him or I get my pressure on. Either way, I win.
Yeah, like that's you have to build that, and I think your moment to moment decision making is where your
trash.
weakness is. Think of the game like a turn based RPG. This is how I break it down for a lot of people. It's a turn based RPG, but you decide who goes first. So here we go, round 1, go. One of you, there's 2 people on screen. One of you decides who goes first, and they're going to decide by just going first. Then after that, everything breaks down into a turn-based flow. You do a move, I have a response. After my response, I do a move. You have a response. After your response, you do a move. And so when you break the game down into a turn-based scenario, it's easier to do that. Okay, on my turn, I did down 1. What are my follow-ups after that down 1? And if it's blocked, what will be their follow-ups after that down 1? Who am I playing? What character? What person am I playing? I always start with the character. What character am I playing? Okay, so these are their best options. What player am I playing? Okay, this guy's really aggressive. So he's going to lean into these. Like if he has 4 options after my down 1, but he's really aggressive, so he's going to lean into these 2 options. So these are the 2 I need to watch out for. What is my response to these 2 options? What am I going to do to blow them up? And then how do I set the trap? So I know after my block down 1, he's going to do either grab or forward 1, right? And these are just generic options, right?
Yeah.
After my down 1, he's either going to do forward 1 or grab. I make the read that he is a YouTube player. He likes to go for big combos. So I'm going to block. I'm going to do down 1. Okay, I'm going to block. I'm going to eat the grab if he goes for the grab. But if he goes for a combo, I'm going to blow it up. Because this guy has shitty hit confirms, and I know I can get the punish. And then that's it. And then once I get the punish, now he's knocked down. What are my 3 options? What is he going to do about my 3 options? Does he know what he can do? Oh, he doesn't? Oh, okay, I'm just going to abuse this one over and over and over. And the idea is to save your mental strength. You use all your mental stamina before the match to come up with the strategy, and then you just execute it, and you don't have to think. Like, there's no thinking. I hardly do any thinking during a match. Like, hardly. I just sit there and say, oh, okay, I'm in range to do forward 1. I'm going to do forward 1. Oh, okay, he blocked it. All right, I'm going to block.
Do it.
I'm going to block because I've already made the contingencies. I've already built the flow chart, right? The flow chart Ken is like the meme in fighting games, right? Everything leads back to Shoryuken. That's not bad. Like, you should play the character that way and make a flow chart. And then everything, you start with a move, which is your best move. So in my Melina tutorial, I said her best move is back 1-1. It just does so much good shit. It has a weakness, range. Range is shitty. How do I get into that range? Watch my video on fundamentals and fighting game footsies, right? Now that we've gotten into range for back 1, we're going to flow chart out. Boom. And then all I'm doing is I'm doing back 1-1, looking at your response and picking from my flow chart what your response was and what I have to respond to that. So in a match, and this is like a 3-touch game. So like within 3 touches, you're dead. So all I'm looking to do is land my big combo 3 times and using my flow chart to look at where the holes in your game plan are going to be where I can sneak in that move. And that's it. My end game is land back 1-1, hit confirm for a combo. That's it. That's my end game. That's all I want to do. Back 1-1, hit confirm when I'm playing Melina. Back 1-1, hit confirm into a combo. If I could do that 3 times, I win. How do I do that? And then you build from there. And I think if you start doing that Amperflex, you'll definitely see a lot more success. You'll do a lot better.
I need to do it more consistently because just lost my mic. If I do it more consistently, then I can have more more good days than I have bad days. And that's the way it is right now. It's kind of 50-50.
Well, I mean, you're still kind of new to like high-level fighting games, so I wouldn't like really put too much stock in that. For the most part, you should find your fun in when your decision-making goes right and take those small battles, right? So you have your flow chart, right? Say you're playing Melina, you have your flow chart, forward 1, And then I have like
Well, Zach
5
actually
things,
just posted the flow chart on Discord too.
right? So like I have my flow chart, and my end game goal is land back 1-1, hit confirm into a full combo. So every time I do that, I feel like I've won. And that's how you keep yourself motivated. Instead of considering winning the match as I won, you set those small goals. If I can land back 1-1, hit confirm to a full combo, then in my mind, I won. I succeeded. And that will keep you motivated. That'll keep you from getting like it down in the dumps. Like, oh shit, I lost. I suck. I can never win. Yeah, because you're looking at the big picture and not the small victories, right? If you're a fat guy and you're trying to lose weight, like you're not going to sit there and like look at your scale and say, oh, I didn't lose 300 pounds, like I'm shitty, right? If you're a fat guy and you're trying to lose weight, you're going to look at the scale and say, oh, I lost 15 pounds today. Oh, this is a big day. So why aren't people bringing that mindset to fighting games? In every other thing in your life, you look at your small goals to keep yourself motivated. But like in fighting games, you don't do that. You don't sit there and say, oh, I landed that flawless block. Holy shit, that shit was hype. They sit there and they say, oh, I lost. I suck. I should quit. I should go back to League of Legends. And it's like, but dude, you landed that flawless block that you've been spending months working on, and you landed it in a match. Like, this is big. This is a big milestone.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's the little goals are extremely little. It's people are looking at the big picture and they want the little goals to happen really fast so they can reach that big picture really soon. Because, I mean, you look at the way that today's world is, people want instant gratification, right? We don't want to wait. We don't want to work for it. We want what we're looking for, and we want it now with the minimum effort possible.
I don't know if I'd say that that's a thing about nowadays. I think that's a misnomer. I think that that's always been the case. All technology, all science, every invention ever created in the history of mankind was created specifically so that way we'd have more free time to sit on our ass and chill. Like cars were invented so I don't have to spend 2 weeks traveling, a couple miles. I can do that in a couple of hours and then go back to chilling. So like when people are like, oh man, like that's like nowadays people are lazy and they don't want to work for it. And I'm like, no, they've never wanted to work for it. It's just
nowadays it's just the culmination of what we've been working for as a species for hundreds of years.
It's just that the only thing your perception of reality is skewed by your lifetime. You only know about what you've seen or heard in your life. So like you're going to look at things from that perspective and think that that's how things are now. But like that's how they've always been. People have always been lazy. They don't want to lab. They don't want to get good. That's how they've always been. Trust me. In like Street Fighter 2, there were people that were just as lazy. But like I think that the cream rises to the top is just the people that understand that. People that understand that. I think the game does a good job of rewarding you for the small goals. When I land that flawless block and I get a fucking cool ass, like even just the mechanic of flawless block, people don't look at that, right? When I flawless block, my character flashes gold, and there's a fucking icon that says flawless block, and the game goes boom, and my controller shakes. And it's like, oh, that's like a big moment. Like, ooh, I landed the flawless block. And then when you hit the up two and and now I get a combo and it looks cool and it's exciting and it's flashy and it's hype. I think the game does a good job of rewarding those small things. I think it's the players that do a bad job of recognizing and
accepting it.
People are just fucking emo and whining. They're like, oh, I lost and I suck. And like they don't focus on the positive things. If you focus on the positive, you'll do all right. But nobody does that. Nobody cares about the positive. Holy shit,
you got the flawless block in a match. Where's smoke? Put smoke in the game.
Well, I mean, that's just people. Like, I don't think more characters. I've always said this, like, adding more characters isn't going to make you good. I don't care if they add your main into the game and your main is top tier. Like, if you were good, you'd have been able to make it work with the roster they've got. New characters, those are those people that are like serial mains, right? Like, they just main whoever's the new character because, like, they get blown up and they don't have the skill to actually carry themselves in a match. They just think, oh, man, if they just add a character that does what I want, then I'll win. And it's like, you don't even know what you want to do because there's probably a character that does what you want. You just haven't explored the game. Like, you're just coming up with excuses why you're losing, and it's always the character. And, oh, I'm going to be so much better when they add smoke. Oh, man, if I add Ermac. And it's like, I've been around long enough to know that Ermac isn't going to help you win.
God damn it. I thought this was going to be the first podcast Badger doesn't go on a rant.
I go on a rant every time. It looks like we're out of time.
Yeah, I've been
actually
meaning to
went.
say that for like 30 minutes.
We went 40 minutes over time. I don't care. Like, it's a podcast. I enjoyed myself, and I
It's
think
time,
that this.
right?
I think it was very, very enlightening. Amper, I hope you stick around. I'd love to get some more sets in with you. Anybody final thoughts on Ultimate and everything?
I don't think it's the best patch ever, at least in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, it's brought everything that I could ask for. Just from a gameplay perspective, it's nice that they brought back the character that I've mained since 1993, but that is small potatoes compared to what they've done for gameplay mechanics. And yeah, as you said at the beginning of the podcast, it's a great time for new players to get into the game, not only because of what the game is right now, but they're paying the same price that we did a year and a half ago for the base game, and we paid so much more to get all these upgrades and expansions and whatnot. So, for the price point, they definitely have a very good game on their hands to start getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be mirroring that as my final thought. My final thought is that MK11 is a deeper, more technical game than people give it credit for. And that as far as dollar for dollar value on the market, if you want a fighting game, MK Ultimate is probably going to be your best value. Nothing even comes close. And
For what you're paying, the tutorials cover it, honestly.
Right. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the people listening to this podcast, chances are they've already bought the game.
Yeah.
So my closing thought for those people is explore your options and build a flowchart. And if you can build a flowchart, that's what all the top players do. Sonic Box does it. Daigo Umehara does it. Daigo Umehara has said that he tries to get every match down to 3 decisions. That's it. He tries to win in three reads. And it's you can do that when you build a proper flowchart. Build a flowchart, learn your character's options, and then all it is learning your opponent's options and making decisions in between. So do that if you already have the game. But if you don't have the game, buy it.
And then deal with that just said.
Yeah. One thing that I would also say is don't be so humble that you don't go back into tutorials. It doesn't matter if you've been playing the game since beta. Go back into the tutorials if you're having trouble with something and figure it out from a base level. The best analogy I have is sometimes the world is best viewed through a child's eyes, right? Look at it as basically as you can before building it back up.
Right? I couldn't have said it better. Go back to the baby brain. Socials. Where can everybody find you guys? I think our usual listeners know where the fuck to find Cabal Sack, but for the new people that maybe don't know, let them know.
Caballing, at Caballing1 on Twitter. That's everything.
Well, and also Cabal Sack is the editor on my YouTube channel. He edits most of the videos you guys are seeing. So everybody give him love and support, and make sure you comment, and subscribe so that way the channel can make some fucking money and I can pay him. Amper, go ahead and shout out your socials, man. Get your clout.
Right. Yeah, I do stream. Right now, I'm streaming every night for the month of November. Twitch TV or twitch.tv/Amperflex. Trying to do a donation drive for Movember, raising some money for researching and combating men's cancers, understanding mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and whatnot. I've got a donate button on my Twitch page. It goes directly to Movember, so not a penny comes through me. Also on Twitter, Amperflex, capital A, capital X. And I've got a YouTube channel that I haven't touched in 8 months, so
you should hire Cabal Sack, but don't take him from me. Hire Cabal Sack, but pay him less than I do.
Got nothing
so
to put
stays,
on there anyways, so
right?
It's all good.
Pay me less than you do.
You can't pay him less than I do because they could take things from you. They'll take your Xbox.
I'll pay you with promises.
He'll pay you negative wages every time you do something for him. He'll take one of your games. Anyways, I want to thank you guys. I want to have you guys more. I mean, obviously, Cabalsec I try to have on as much as possible, but Amper, I'd love to have you back, man. And
Be great to be back.
definitely hope to see more out of you, more content creation, more videos and things. And there's a couple of things that I'll discuss with you after the podcast or after the
Right.
know on the off days.
Actually, I got one more thing to mention about that Movember drive, if I may.
Go for it.
I've only set the goal for donations to be raised at $250, which I feel is pretty modest considering what some people are asking for people that donate out there in the FGC. This is a good cause, and at $250, then on stream on November 30th, I will shave the beard that I've been growing for almost an exact calendar year.
Oh, nice! Everybody, take his manhood. The time has come.
And
Take
we're at
it.
70. We're at $70
shit.
right now.
Guys, get on it. You know, a lot of my viewers are men, so know that
A lot of the
your
FGC
balls,
are men.
right? Your balls are at stake. So definitely
Yep.
look
And
to Amper.
cancer doesn't care how you identify. If you have the parts, you're at risk.
That is very important in this post-binary fucking world that we live in. I don't care if you're trans and you want to be a girl. You were born a man, and cancer doesn't care about what you identify. So those of you that are trans, like, definitely get your balls checked. And if you don't have balls anymore, still get your prostate checked. Those parts, they don't really disappear when you transition. It's very important that you look at those things and take care of yourself. And that would be it, I guess. I think everybody got kicked out of Discord. Is everybody?
Sounds like a wrap.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I will catch you guys later. I'm going to try and get this up tonight or tomorrow, depends, and we'll get the rest of the stream going.
Sounds good. Thank you.